Okay, everybody, what is going on? Good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. And the Seattle Seahawks have had practice number 8 wrap up, non-padded today, no pads. So not necessarily as much to glean as there might be from a padded practice. And also keep in mind that Curtis Allen is not at the VMAC right now, or at the very least, he's not doing the really intense play-by-play of training camp stuff. So we don't have a lot to go on there right now. But let's talk about what there is to talk about, because we still had a lot of beat reporters there and they still passed along a lot of good information. And there's also some stuff I can talk about even beyond that. So let's get into it a little bit here. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So we'll start with injury stuff here. And Curtis Allen did pass along this, a quote from Mike McDonald. This was during, I believe, his press conference at the end of the day. Asked about Julian Neal, should be shorter term at this point. So Neal was not seen on the field today. Didn't practice, is my understanding. But according to McDonald, he'll be back pretty soon, which, good news. I will say that for him, it's a much bigger deal to get these practice reps, so it's still not great that he's missing this time. But nevertheless, it's better than him missing more time, so can't be bad. So that looks like that's going to clear up pretty soon. We did get some concerning updates regarding Robbie Oots, however, and this seems like it's going to be a problem. If there's one injury in Seattle right now that sounds like it's going to be an issue for this team, it would be this. And I understand that Robbie Oots is a fullback. He doesn't play a ton, but there is clearly a plan to utilize him this season in the offense. And there's clearly a belief that he can make this team better by the offensive staff and the coaching staff in general. If you will remember, last year, he missed a lot of time near the end of the season because of the neck injury. And it wasn't a big deal because honestly, last year, Robbie Oots was learning on the job and he wasn't playing that well. I never got the sense that he was making a big impact on the team. So him missing snaps last season was not something that overly concerned me. But now we're in August, and this neck injury happened last season, during the game. So more than 6 months later, it's starting to sound like he's still dealing with something. So if this is the neck, and it sounds like it is, that could indicate some very long-term issues. So look, we got nothing to complain about right now as far as NFL teams go. You've got what the 49ers are dealing with. You've got what the Panthers are dealing with. You've got other teams that are having problems too. But if there's one notable issue, it's right here. It's starting to sound like it is at least possible that Robbie Oots has something long-term going on in there. And if it's a neck injury, then you're in trouble at that point. You are in big trouble if you're trying to play fullback in the NFL and you've got some kind of a neck thing. Remember, he was able to do practice last season. Like, he was practicing in part in the weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, but he still was not activated. So I'm a little bit concerned if this is the neck. I did not love the way McDonald sounded when he talked about it, but we'll know more soon. So we don't love that. Jacardia Wright suffered a leg injury in practice today, the running back. The only new significant injury that Bob Condotta saw, so I think that's the only new thing we have to go on right now. And we also got a little update on Nick Emanwari. McDonald said that it's going positive, but he has no other update. So on the injury front, I think that's really about all that can be said. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer. Best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today, and remember to always gamble responsibly. Now, for whatever it's worth, and this isn't really anything that I would read into at this point in time, I've heard that Zach Charbonnet looks pretty good running right now, so we're making good progress there. And there has been some reason to believe, not anything concrete, but there has been some rumored possibility that he could be ready for week 1, which that would be, I mean, that would be quite a twist. Not expecting that to happen at all. However, definitely worth paying attention to, because I think the difference between this team having Charbonnet for a whole season and having him for half or even 2/3 of the season is noticeable. Maybe it's not huge, but it's noticeable. So injury stuff, that's about it. One thing that happened today that was kind of notable is we had a lot of kind of guest appearances. Mitch Johnson and several members of the Spurs coaching staff were present, which kind of random. I think Mitch Johnson has some kind of a connection to the area. I don't know exactly. Like, he might have been born here. I'm not 100% sure about that. I do not follow the NBA very closely right now, but he was there along with some other people in the Spurs organization. McDonald talked a little bit about how it's beneficial to meet with coaching staffs of other sports. And we also had some former Seahawk legends, Dwayne Brown, Michael Bennett, Warren Moon, and Cliff Averill at practice. Always a good thing, always a positive thing. I mean, I don't think it can be a bad thing anyway. Yes, I'm calling Warren Moon a Seahawks legend, even though he was only here for a little bit, but he's certainly a Washington State legend, if nothing else. But anyway, always fun to have these guest appearances pop up from time to time. And it does show you that at the end of the day, even though some of these guys did not leave on the best of terms, there is a certain level of camaraderie in this building that the players keep coming back to, however poorly things may occasionally end. One highlight today, so getting to the on the field stuff, and again, there isn't going to be a ton, but there were a few recurring themes here. Bud Clark was one of the big stars of the day. He was working with the ones a lot today, and there were a couple different things going on here. First, he was playing traditional safety stuff. He was playing, the safety role, which is what he is. He is a safety. But he was also getting the opportunity to experiment a little bit in the Nick Eamon-Wari role because Eamon-Wari's out. So he was kind of going all over the field, playing a bunch of different roles. Mike McDonald said that we're asking a lot of him right now, and I'm really impressed with how he's handling it. Important to build a relationship with these guys and feel the speed of the game. Now, Bud Clark, over the last few days, has been doing so much work with the ones, you could be forgiven for thinking that maybe he is just one of the ones at this point, because it's been like 3 or 4 practices in a row now where he's gotten a lot of reps with the starters. So I think that while I still believe that Ty Okada is going to start the season as the number 1, it is worth noting that I haven't heard Ty Okada's name really at all so far in camp. Now, I understand that Bud Clark needs these reps more than Okada, but Okada is not a 10-year veteran. He needs some reps too. So if Bud Clark is looking better than him in training camp, and it sounds like that's at least a possibility, maybe things are going to get a little bit more scrambled than we thought. And like I've said, Bud Clark has a lot more talent than Okada. Like, there's a reason why Clark was a second-round pick and Okada wasn't even drafted. And I like Okada. I think Okada is really good. But I think Bud Clark has a higher ceiling. And if he wants to realize that ceiling now, then playing time is all his. So that was one of the most notable things of the day, I think. Bud Clark is really coming along nicely. So that's your top 2 rookies who look really good. Nehemiah Pritchett talked a little bit about some of the back-end depth receivers on the team who he thinks have played really well so far. The 2 names that he threw out there when he was talking with Corbin were Montori Foster and Ricky White. Now, Montori Foster, it is extremely unlikely he makes this team. I can't really imagine a scenario where he makes the team. But Ricky White's interesting. We drafted him last year. Ricky White is a really good special teamer, and he was a weapon on offense in college. He's not very fast, but he was a great big play threat. He was a deep threat, over the top, burning defenses constantly, and he was also a wizard on special teams, so don't count him out. So if he's making a positive impression, then you can bet that at the minimum he's going to be a practice squad guy, but that number 6 receiver spot might be open. I think it's the only spot on the receiver depth chart that's open. But if we carry 6 receivers, can't count out Ricky White. Another guy who was really good today was Velus Jones. Now, again, I don't know how exciting that is because Velus Jones is someone who is very unlikely to make the team. There's just not room for him. But he had 3 plays of 30-plus yards in scrimmage. So, notable. He is a unique talent. And remember, he was a relatively coveted draft pick. He was, I think, a day 2 pick, if I recall correctly. So, I look at something like that, and I do wonder, hey, maybe he's a late bloomer. Maybe he's going to figure it out now. But, again, I just don't know where there's room for him. Now, the other kind of big, notable highlight that everyone was talking about, and you see Corbin talking about it here, and you see Greg Bell talking about it as well, Rashid Shaheed had a long touchdown catch from Sam Darnold. And every practice, it feels like at least one person shouts out the fact that Rashid Shaheed looks so much better than he did last year. So one of the things that McDonald wanted to see this week is more success on the deep balls from Darnold to Shaheed. So far, looks like that's what we're getting. So really good news. Now I know he's going up against Michael Dansby and rookie Bud Clark on a deep post. Nevertheless, every time these guys practice, it sounds like they're feeling it. And look, even if this stuff doesn't translate to deep balls in the regular season, understand that this is going to be a big part of our run game this year. Like, one of the big reasons, and this is something we talk about a lot on this channel in the comments, one of the big reasons why this team didn't run the ball very well for most of the season last year is because teams stacked the box. They were not because they weren't afraid of our receivers beating them down the field. As good as JSN was, that was not a guy they looked at and went, we got to double team him with a safety over the top all the time. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe they should have double teamed him with a safety over the top at all times, but for the most part, they didn't. When Shaheed joined the team, the running game got better. And that's one thing to keep in mind here. Even if Shaheed doesn't bust a ton of big plays, he's still going to have a big impact on this team by virtue of the fact that he's going to pull the defense with his downfield speed. And with that downfield speed, you're going to have lighter boxes so we can run the ball. Like, for most of the season last year, we were ineffective running the ball. Walker and Charbonnet both had issues in that area in a lot of games in the first few months of the season. But the thing to keep in mind about that is I don't believe that had much to do with Walker or Charbonnet's individual play. That had a little something to do with it. But to me, the 2 main reasons why that kept happening was defenses stacking the box and the run blocking of the offensive line. And we know that the run blocking should be getting better just because of continuity. But if Shaheed can be out there for the whole season for us, forcing defenses to play back, that will allow us to overcome whatever shortcomings there may be from downgrading at the running back spot from last year in terms of raw talent. So really good to hear. We also got Abe Lucas talking a little bit at the podium. He talked about a few different things. Hard Knocks. He talked about going to Italy in the offseason, but the main thing to take away here, and this kind of goes back to what I was just talking about, how much better the offensive line looks because they're getting continuity, not just with the players, but with the offensive line coach, John Benton. This is the first time in a while we've had the same offensive line coach from one year to the other. Abe Lucas in particular has had to deal with a lot of turnover there, and that is the nature of the position. But having all 5 starters return as of right now and the coach return seems like it's a very positive impact. All right, so that's really about it. I know it's not a lot, but that's what we got to go on right now. So I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. And yeah, padded practice. So maybe we'll get a little bit more. All right, go Hawks. See you guys soon. Everyone have a good rest of your day.